Be'ez Hashem Yisbarach, we begin today a new Masechta Sotah. As it's well known, Masechta Sotah, there's a minig to learn it between Pesach and Shavuos, corresponding to the 49 days of Sfiras HaOmer, the 49 blat of the Masechta, one blat for a day. So one of the simple and famous reasons that this Masechta is learned in this time period, the Rebbe spoke about this many times, is because the mitzvah of Sfiras HaOmer, as we'll see here in this Masechta as well, the Karban HaOmer was brought specifically from Sa'irim, barley. And barley is called a Meichel Behemah, food for an animal. The main avodah of Sfiras HaOmer, which is counting after Yitzias Mitzrayim, is to take all that great revelation of Yitzias Mitzrayim, Nigla Aleim Melech Malchei Amlochem HaKadosh Baruch Hu B'chvoidei V'atzmai, and now to bring it down into each level, the 49 days, the levels of the Nefesh HaBahamis as well. So therefore we learn in Nigla about the subject of how to deal with the Behemah. This Masechta speaks about a woman, which is a Sotah. The word Sotah means, there's two pirushim. One pirush of the word Sotah means to go off the straight path. Sotah miderech, to go off. Or Sotah also means a ruach shtus, a spirit of foolishness that overcomes a person, as the Gemara will say here on Daf Gimel, ein adam oiver avera elam kein nichnas by ruach shtus. So therefore, this Masechta in Nigla that discusses this subject is related to the whole avodah of a person dealing with Ruach Shtos and the Nefesh HaBahamis and the Behemah. That's the reason why the minig is to learn this Masechta in this time period. So as I said, the Sotah will talk about a woman which goes and she's secluding herself with someone else privately, and it's unclear whether she actually had a relationship with this person or not. And the Torah gives us the halachas and the method of how to deal with this and what to do in order to find out whether she had a relationship with someone else or not. And this is the waters of the Sotah that she drinks that will determine this. So the Masechta here will begin with the different stages of what the husband does in such a situation when he has a wife that's behaving in this way. So let's begin. A person that warns his wife. So the first step of a woman becoming a Sotah begins with the fact that the husband warned her. If a husband doesn't warn his wife, there's no concept of a Sotah. So he has to warn her. Now the question is, when he warns her, can this be done between him and his wife, or does he have to warn her in front of witnesses? So the Mishnah says, when he warns her, it has to be in the presence of two Eidim. Without that, the warning doesn't count at all. And this is not only for the fact that without having two Eidim, he'll have a difficult time proving that he ever warned her, but it's more than that. The Eidim itself are an integral part of the warning. Just like we find by Kiddushin, that the Eidim are an integral part of the actual Kiddushin. Many Achreinim say this, that over here you see from Rashi as well, that without the Eidim, the warning is worthless. Umashka that is. And then when it comes to actually bringing her to drink the waters, and what the Mishnah is saying over here, mashke, really refers to this, that he now comes and tells us that she was secluded with a man privately. So when he comes to tell us that she was secluded privately with someone, how many witnesses do you need for that? That's al pi eid echad. You only need one aid that testifies this, or al pi atzmai, or even if he himself comes and tells us that she was secluded with someone privately, that's enough to bring her to be able to drink the waters of the Sotah to determine what happened. As long as the beginning, the warning was with two Eidim, so then this is what's called stira. Right? As we'll see, you have to get custom with the terminologies of this Masechta. You have the warning is called mekane, which is the lashon of the pasuk, or it's called kinui, generally in the Masechta, and then when she's secluded with someone privately is called stira. She was privately with someone. So over here when it says mashke refers to this, that she was privately with someone, that information, it's enough if there's one aid or even the husband himself says this, so then she will have to drink now the waters of the Sotah to determine what happened. Rabbi Shua argues and says, Mekanala al pishnayim. The warning has to be with the presence of two Eidim. And also mashke al pishnayim. Then this that she was secluded privately with someone, so she should come to drink the waters, also has to be only by the testimony of two Eidim. If you don't have two Eidim for both of these stages, she will not have to drink the water. So the Mishnah, now here the Mishnah will describe what exactly the husband warns his wife about. Kate said, how does he warn her? He tells her, in front of two witnesses, al tadabri emish ploini. Don't speak with that individual. And so she went and she did speak to him, but not privately, just had a conversation with him. So even after this happens, she doesn't listen to her husband, she still will be allowed to go back to her home and to have a relationship with her husband. As we'll see later here in the Masechta, that once a woman is determined as a Sotah, now she'll be usher to live with her husband. One of the isurim that applies to a Sotah until we determine what happens is that she's usher labayla, may not go back to her husband. But over here, if she only spoke to this man, so she still could go back to her home. And also, umuteres lechel betruma, she will still be allowed to eat truma. This is in a case where her husband is a kohen. So that's another halacha about a Sotah. As long as she's a Sotah and we don't know what happened, she's not allowed to eat the truma of her husband, the kohen. But over here, if she only spoke to this person, so then she can come back and eat truma. But however, says the Mishnah, nichnesa imoy lebeis haseiser, if she, after she was warned, she went privately with this man in a place, and v'shah se'imoy, and she remained there with him, kedei tumah, in the length of time that it would take for her to have a relationship with him, then asura lebeisa, now she's forbidden to go back to her house, to her husband, to live with her husband. Vasura lechel betruma, and she's also forbidden of eating truma from her husband, the kohen. Another halacha regarding a Sotah is that if her husband passes away before we find out what's the story with her. So in this situation of being a Sotah, where there's a doubt about what happened here, and her husband passed away, so we're talking about here of a situation where the husband passed away without any children. What's usually the halacha when a person dies without any children? The brother of the husband has a mitzvah of yibum, the mitzvah of going and marrying his wife. But over here, if she was a Sotah, chayletzes v'loy misyabemes, the mitzvah of yibum does not apply. The only thing that the brother has to do is chalitza, which is usually the second option, that you remove the shoe and then she can go and get married to whoever she wants. So over here, only chalitza is possible to be done and not yibum. And all this will be learned out in the Gemara. Sagt der Heilige Gemara, Mechti, let's see. How are we coming here to Masechta Sotah? Tane mi Nazir solik. The Tane just concluded the Masechta of Nazir, discussing the halachas of a person accepting upon himself Nazirus. How do we come from there to Sotah? My Tane, what did it learn in Masechta Nazir? The Katana Sotah, that after Nazir he comes to the Masechta of Sotah. Doesn't seem to be any connection between these two subjects. Says the Gemara, the connection is Keder Rebbe. As Rebbe said in a Braisa, the Tanya we learned in a Braisa, Rebbe said, Lo manismacha Parshas Nazir, the Parshas Sotah. Similar in the Torah in Parshas Nasai, the two Parshas of Nazir and Sotah also come together. Why do we find that the first comes Parsha of the Parsha of Sotah and then Nazir? This is to tell you, anybody that sees a Sotah, the way she is getting embarrassed and what happens to a Sotah when she has to drink these waters of the Sotah, and with her behavior and everything that happened to her, Yazer atzmai min hayayin. So he should separate himself from drinking wine in order not to come to this kind of behavior. When a person drinks wine and is involved in these kinds of things that bring this kind of behavior, that brings to become a Sotah. So that's why Nazir and Sotah come together. But if that's the case, the listening Sotah. So first, it should say the Tana should teach the halachas of Masechta Sotah, and v'hada listening Nazir. And then only after that, when you know about the story of a Sotah and you see how the kilkul, the embarrassment of the Sotah, following that should come Masechta Nazir. Which is the remedy for this, that not to be a Nazir, not to drink wine. Why is the order the opposite? Answers the Gemara, the order goes as follows. Aidi ditonic subis, because we have Masechta Ksubis. And V'tana Hamader. One of the prakim in Masechta Ksubis begins to speak about a person's wife. B'chlal Masechta Ksubis speaks about all the obligations between husband and wife. And one of the details it speaks about over there in that Masechta is regarding the Nedarim that a woman makes, that what happens regarding a husband in such a situation where he all of a sudden finds out that his wife has Nedarim. Does he stay married to her? Does he not stay married to her? So then after that, Tana Nedarim. It continues with Masechta Nedarim, which tells us b'chlal all the halachas of vows. And then v'aidi, the Tana Nedarim, because it discussed the matter of Nedarim, Tana Nazir. It says the halachas of Nazir, the Dami Nedarim, which is similar to Nedarim. A Nazir is a vow, a certain kind of a neder that a person accepts upon himself. And then v'katani Sotah kederebi. And then because Sotah is related to Masechta Nazir, So therefore it says Masechta Sotah, like what Rebbe said, because so really the order should have been the opposite, but it says Nazir right after Nedarim because it's related to the concept of Nedarim. Sota Gemara, going back now to the Mishnah, the first word of the Mishnah, Hamekane. The Mishnah begins with the word Hamekane, which means one that warned his wife. So this is really extra. Why did the Mishnah have to say this? The Mishnah could have just said, Rabbi Eliezer could have began right away with the halacha that Rabbi Eliezer says that Mekan al Pishnayim, that you warn your wife in the presence of two Eidim. Why does it start with Hamekane, one that has warned his wife? So what's the meaning of this term? Diyevedin, Hamekane is talking about after the fact. B'diyeved, one that has warned his wife. And then the Mishnah goes on to say, in presence of whom that warning should be. But lechatchila, it seems like the Mishnah is saying that lechatchila, one should not warn his wife about this. Says the Gemara, Kesavar Tana Didan, the Tana of our Mishnah holds, Aser lekanais, that Chazal instituted that it's forbidden for one to warn his wife. Even though, of course, Menatayra, there is the option of a person warning his wife, and then if she doesn't listen and she's secluded with someone, there's the halacha of Sotah. But nevertheless, Chachamim said that it's forbidden to warn your wife. What's the reason for this? So Rashi here says the reason for this is because when a person warns his wife about such a thing, it brings to quarrels and arguments and fights. This itself that he warned her can cause a problem with shalom bayis. Right? So he has to find, if he has a situation where his wife is misbehaving, he's going to have to figure out another way how to bring her back to him without warning her, without getting into this. That's Rashi's pshat. The Rambam, there's a sikha from the Rebbe about this actually, Barichis and Chelik Yudches Parshas Nosei, where the Rebbe discusses this subject of why it's also for a husband to warn his wife. And the Rebbe there says that the Rambam says that the problem is a person comes to warn his wife that's behaving in this kind of way. The Gemara later says that if a woman is misbehaving in this kind of way, it's probably also an indication that the husband is not behaving properly as well. And then what happens is, the Gemara later says that the only time the waters of the Sotah works for the woman to determine what happened to her is if the husband didn't sin either. But if the husband had a relationship that was forbidden, so then the waters of the Sotah doesn't even work. So Chazal saw that the reality is that when the woman misbehaves, the husband does as well, and then the waters of the Sotah anyways doesn't work, so therefore they said, forget about it. It's usher for a husband to bring his wife to become a Sotah, and therefore, instead, what should he do? If it's such a situation, either he should do tshuva himself, look at yourself instead of warning your wife, or if he can't do anything about this, he should just divorce her, but not to go ahead and to warn his wife. That's the Rambam's pshat in this. And the Rebbe actually points out, according to this, that this is why, according to the Rambam, the orders of the Masechta is not the way it seems like here the Gemara described, that Sotah comes right after Nazir, but actually Gittin comes right after Nazir, and then Sotah comes after Gittin. Even though the Gemara here clearly said that Sotah is the Masechta that comes after Nazir, but according to the Rambam, Gittin and Sotah are sort of two Masechtas that are one. It's divided into two, Gittin and Sotah, but it's really both together. And the reason is, because the Gemara here says that really Sotah, Chazal were misakin, that it's a situation where you can't really warn your wife, you can't bring her to become a Sotah. In such a situation, very likely you're going to have to come and divorce her. So therefore the Rambam held that Gittin and Sotah are one Masechta. Okay, there's more to this, and we'll learn more about this on Daf Gimel. Amar Rav Shmuel bar Rav Yitzchak, not Rav Shmuel, but Rav Yitzchak said regarding this whole Masechta here. He have a pasach Reish Lakish b'Sotah. When Reish Lakish began teaching Masechta Sotah, Amar Hachi, he said as follows: Ein mizavgen leila adam isha elo lefi ma'asav. That a person, the zivug, the marriage between husband and wife, who is a person's wife, who is the zeicha that should be his wife? It's all according to your actions, according to your behavior, according to your level. Shanemar, as we see in the pasuk, ki lo yenuach shevet haresha al geirel hatzadikim. The Eibusher doesn't allow the rasha, the dominion, the control of a rasha to be upon the lot of tzadikim. A rasha is for a rasha, and a tzadik or a tzadik is, or Rashi says, a snua l'tzadik, and a prutza is l'rasha. Amar Rabba bar Bachana, Amar Rabbi Yechanan. So Rabba bar Bachana said in the name of Rabbi Yechanan about this concept of the shidduch between a husband and wife, that the koshin l'zavgon k'kriyas yamsuf. A shidduch, to bring a husband and wife together, is as difficult as splitting the sea, as the kriyas yamsuf. Shanamar, and this is learned from a pasuk that says, Elikim Moshev Yechidim Baisa. The Eibusher brings and settles two individuals in a home together, and you build a home from two people, Maitzi asirim bakisharis. And the drasha here is that the Eibishter took asirim, the prisoners, which refers to Yidden, bakisharis, meaning in a perfect time. What's the perfect time? In Chodesh Nisan, which is springtime, not too hot and not too cold. So we see here in the same pasuk, it speaks about Yetzias Mitzrayim, and this that the Eibishter brings husband and wife together in one home. So they're compared to each other. The difficulty of Yetzias Mitzrayim and Kriyas Yamsuf is the same to create a home of husband and wife. The Rebbe also speaks about this, and the Chassidus speaks about this concept of Kosher Lezavgon Kriyas Yamsuf, that the difficulty of Kriyas Yamsuf is not the miracle that there is in this. There's other miracles besides Kriyas Yamsuf. What's unique about the miracle of Kriyas Yamsuf? What's unique about Kriyas Yamsuf is the fact that there was a combination of two opposites that happened at the same time. The fact that the Eibishter saves Yidden and the Eibishter punishes the Mitzrayim all at the same time. The Lashon that's brought in the Maimarim is Rafi Yisrael and Noguf Mitzrayim. So a plague and a Yeshua and a salvation for Yidden all at the same time. It's a revelation of Chesed and Gvura, two opposites at the same moment. That's the Chiddush of Kriyas Yamsuf. And so that explains the connection between the Kriyas Yamsuf and a Shidduch. Because a Shidduch is bringing together a husband and wife, a Zohar and a Keva, which are also opposite worlds. And to bring two worlds together and to create one home, one bias, that's like Kriyas Yamsuf. Refers to Yetzias Mitzrayim. Okay, but the Gemara is darshaning it on Kriyas Yamsuf. But the Gemara asks on this, Eini, is this true? So according to Rashi, the Gemara's question here is, we said before that bringing husband and wife together is dependent on your actions, your behavior. A tzaddik for a tzaddik and a rasha for a rasha. But is that true that it's based on a person's behavior in this world? But for Rav Yehuda said in the name of Rav, already 40 days before the Yitzira, before the formation of a fetus, Baska Yetzis Vaymeres, there's a Baska that comes out and announces, Bas Pliny Lepliny, Bas Pliny Bias Pliny Lepliny. And Sotah Process, that this girl will be married to this individual, and this house will be for this person, and this field, this property will be for this person. So it's already predetermined before a person is married. So how could you say that it's based on a person's behavior as a tzaddik or the opposite in this world? That's the pshat of Rashi here in the Gemara. The Marsha and other Mefarshim say that the pshat of the Gemara's question is on this that we just said about Kriyas Yamsuf. How could you say that it's difficult for the Eibishter like Kriyas Yamsuf if it's already something that's determined from before? The Gemara answer is loy kashya. This is not a question. When it comes to zivug rishayin, first marriage, that's something which is already predetermined from a baska before a person is married. And in that, it's not based on a person's actions, and it's not necessarily difficult like Kriyas Yamsuf. And bezivug sheni. When it comes to a second marriage, so here it's already not something which is based on before, but this is based on a person's behavior, and on that we say that it's as difficult as Kriyas Yamsuf. That's what it says here. As ich kommt from der Gemara. I have to ask the Shadchanim. Sagt the Gemara, going back now to the halacha that it said in the Mishnah. Rabbi Eliezer mekana lo al pi shnayim v'chulu. So what did the Mishnah say? That when it comes to bringing a woman to come to be in the status of a Sotah, so Rabbi Eliezer says you have to have two Eidim to warn her. Rabbi Yeshua says not only two Eidim to warn her, but also two Eidim that saw that she was secluded privately. So says the Gemara, At kanle pligi. Where do we see over here in the Mishnah that there's an argument about this? Ela bekinui bestira. Regarding a warning and regarding this that they went privately, whether you need two eidim for both or only for the warning. Avol betumeh. How about if we have a situation where we know that she became tomeh, meaning this is after she was warned and after she went privately with someone, and there were eidim for that. But now there's another thing that we find out that she actually had a relationship with this person. So regarding this, someone that comes and tells us that she actually had a relationship with this person, Eid Echad Mehemen. Here, everybody will agree that you don't need two witnesses to tell this to us, even with one aid that tells us that I know that there was a tumah, that there was an actual relationship between this man and woman. That's enough. That Eid Echad will be believed. Okay, so again, this is only after we had two witnesses that previously told us that there was a warning and there was the fact that she went privately with someone. Then I say that betume eid echad mehemen. What's the source for this? So Tana Nami, we learned also in a Mishnah later here in the Masechta, Eid Echad Doime. If one aid comes along and says, right, she was warned, and then she went privately with someone, and now an Eid Echad comes and says, Ani Isi Shenitmis. I saw for a fact that there was a relationship between them. So now, Loi Haisa Shaisa, she doesn't drink anymore from the waters of the Sotah, because the waters of the Sotah is only for a situation where there's a suffix, where it's unclear what happened. And this waters of the Sotah comes to determine that. But if even just one aid comes and says that I know that she became Tameh, now she doesn't drink from the waters of the Sotah. We believe that one aid, that's what happened. So we already know. So Midayraisa, Minolan de Mehamin Eidechad, from the Psukim and the Torah, from where do I know that one aid is believed? The Tan Rabbanon. So we learned in the Braisa about this. The Braisa brings the source from the Pasuk. Right in the beginning of the parasha of Sotah, the pasuk there says, "Ve'aid aim ba," that there's no aid that's saying testimony about this. So if you look here, at least in this Gemara here, on the side of the Gemara, they have the full pasuk. Right. So this is one of the first psukim in the parasha of Sotah. The pasuk says, "V'shacha v'shaisa shichva zera v'nela me'ene isha." A man had a relationship with this woman, and it's unknown to her husband. V'nistara, she was secluded with someone. V'hi nitma, and then she became Tameh with this man. Ve'eid aim ba, and there's no witness for this. And v'hi lo nispasa, it wasn't done by force. That's the full pasuk. Okay, so what do you have over here? This pasuk. There's a few details that this pasuk says. Now, the simple pshat of this pasuk, it's speaking about this situation of a Sotah where it's unknown. She went privately with someone, but it's unknown what happened. But the Gemara will dashen that in the beginning of the parasha of Sotah, it's actually talking about a situation where she went privately with someone, and now there's one aid that's telling us what happened, and we know that she had a relationship with this man, and therefore the regular halach of a Sotah to drink waters does not apply. The pasuk here says, "V'hi nitma," she became Tameh, and then the pasuk says, "V'hi lo nispasa," it wasn't against her will. What's the pasuk trying to say? If it was something that was done against her will, so then obviously she would not become aser to her husband, because it was an einus. She can go back to her husband by force, exactly. But over here the pasuk says it was not by force. But here the key is, the pasuk says, "Ve'eid aim ba." There's no witness for this. So if this pasuk is coming to say that she became Tameh, and the pasuk is clarifying, she became Tameh not against her will, and therefore she's going to be aser. So how is she aser? What does it mean when it says ve'eid aim ba? If there's no witness, how could she become aser? So the Gemara teaches, the Braisa here says, what does this mean? Ve'eid aim ba means b'shnayim akasam medaber. What it's saying is that there are no two witnesses to tell us that she had a relationship with this man. But there is one witness that's telling this to us. So that's exactly what the pasuk is saying. That when she became Tameh to this man, willingly, you don't have two Eidim that are telling this to us, even just one Eid is saying this, she becomes Asa to her husband. She's Tameh, she's determined as Tameh, and there's no waters of the Sotah. Says the Braisa further, how do we know that that's what Ve'eid Ein Ba means? That there's no two, but there's one. Or perhaps what the pasuk is saying is that you don't even have one Eid that's here. Eid Ein Ba means that nobody saw what happened over here. So Talmud Loimar. So therefore, the Gemara says, for this we have another pasuk b'chlal regarding Eidus when it speaks about the fact that usually an Eid Echad is not believed for anything. So what does the pasuk there say? Lo yakum Eid Echad be'ish. You can't have just one witness getting up against a man to testify against him. So here the pasuk says Lo yakum Eid Echad, meaning, from that pasuk we're going to learn out that whenever the Torah wants to speak an Eid Echad, it adds the word Echad to say that we're talking only about one witness. And the Gemara spells it, the Braisa spells it out. If the pasuk there says that one witness can't talk and say anything to be believed against the person, say any Yedei Shehu Echad, wouldn't I understand that we're talking about one witness? It says Eid. Eid is a singular term. So we know it talks about one. Why does the Torah add the word Echad? Why does the pasuk spell out Eid Echad? Ze bona av. The answer is, this is a source in general. This is a father, as in a source for all other places where the Torah speaks about Eidos, that kol makom shenema Eid. Anytime the Torah says the expression of the word Eid, harei kan shnayim. Eid in the Torah, even though it's a singular term, it really means two Eidim. Unless the Torah spells out clearly one. If it says one Eid, then I know it means one. But if the Torah does not spell out one, then it means two Eidim. So now, going back to the pasuk that we brought before in the parasha of Sotah, what does it say there? The Torah says, Trei lespa, that this woman, that we know that she became tamei, and it was not by force. There aren't two edim. So now we know when it says ve'ed einba, it means that there aren't two edim that saw this. But elachad, there's only one aid that was there. And the pasuk there says, Vihi loy nispasa, that this was not done by force, and therefore asura. So therefore she's usher to be with her husband. Right? But in other words, the Gemara is using, or the Braisa is using this that it says, Vihi loy nispasa on the pasuk to show that it's coming to say that she's usher. If it would come to say that she's still mutter, why is it coming to spell out that this was not by force? It's coming to say that because it was not by force, so therefore she'll be asr. And what's the pasuk saying? That if there's no two eidim that saw this, there's one aid that saw this, and then she'll be asr. Okay, so this is the conclusion of the Braisa. So now the Gemara will explain over here that it seems like this whole arichas in the Braisa over here is all extra. What was the main arichas of this Braisa? To prove that when it says in that pasuk ve'ed ein ba, what does ve'ed ein ba mean? Only one aid. That there's no two eidim that saw this, only one aid saw this. And the Braisa went to a great length to prove that. The question is, why does the Braisa have to prove this? If you're going to touch the pasuk literally, ve'ed ein ba means that not even one witness saw this. If not even one witness saw this, how would the pasuk come and say that this woman should be asa to her husband? Nobody saw this. So the words ve'ed ein ba must be the two eidim did not see it, only one aid saw this. Why does the Braisa have to go to such a great length to prove that ve'ed ein ba means that two did not see, but only one saw? Says the Gemara, now how did you prove that ve'ed ein ba means that two did not see, but one did see? Because the Braisa proved this from the other pasuk where it says la yakum eid echad beish, that when it wants to speak about one aid, it adds the word echad. And from that I know that over here in this pasuk, because it didn't add echad, so ve'ed ein ba means that there aren't two witnesses, but there still is one. But l'chalav hachi, if you wouldn't have that proof, hava minah, then you would think that eid the Sotah chadu, that over here when it says ve'ed ein ba, it means that not even one witness saw what happened. But the question is, how could that be the pshat in the pasuk here? Via filachad leke, if not even one witness saw what happened, so ela b'may mitzvah. So why is she becoming asa to her husband? This pasuk is coming to say that she's asa to her husband. So you can't say ve'ed ein ba means that nobody saw this. So there's no reason for the whole arichas here in this Braisa. Says the Gemara, it's trech. No, the Braisa does have to prove that this is the pshat of the pasuk, because there would be another way how to interpret this pasuk. So I would think to say as follows: what does eid ein ba mean? Eid ein ba doesn't mean that one aid, that not even one aid was there, or not two aidim were there, but rather what the pasuk is saying is ein nemon ba. What the pasuk is saying is that in such a case, two eidim are not believed. That's what it's saying. Then in this case, with this woman, when you have a man and a woman that were secluded privately after they were warned, that one aid that saw that she became tamei, that she had a relationship with this man, we're not going to trust one aid. You still need two eidim to let us know that they had a relationship with each other. Maybe that's what the pasuk is coming to say. So again, not the simple taich of eid ein ba, that there wasn't even one witness that saw this. Adarabah, the pasuk is coming to say one witness is not trusted. You need two witnesses. Frag the Gemara, how could that be? Ein nemon ba. The pasuk is coming to say that one aid is not trusted, but you need two aidim for this. Ve'elamai boy ad ikitrei. The pasuk here is coming to teach me the halacha that you need two aidim to say that she had a relationship with this man. Why do you need this pasuk to teach this to me? This is the rule in Kol HaTorah Kula, that you always need two eidim. Lishtoi kra minei. The pasuk can be quiet right over here. It doesn't have to say this to me. And the asye davar mimamen. I could learn out the gzeira shava of these two words of davar that it says from where the Torah speaks about the concept of eidim by money matters. In the lashon of the pasuk by money over there, the pasuk says that al pishnayim eidim or al pishloisha eidim yokum davar. That the minimum that you have to always have is two eidim. And the word davar also says regarding all matters that between husband and wife, it also uses the term davar, by arayas, by matters between husband and wife, and we learn them out from each other, that you always have to have two eidim. Va'ano yadaina, and therefore I would know, mididava called ediyos, or some agredes are called arayas, that this is the same, like all ediyos, like all other ediyos that there are, shabbatayra, in the Torah. So why do I need a special pasuk here to say that one aid is not believed, but you must have two eidim? Says the Gemara, it's terech. No, I could still say that this is the pshat of the pasuk, that it's coming to teach me this chiddush that you must have 2 edim, even though this is a rule in Kol HaTorah Kula. Why do I need it? Because I would think Sotah shani, that over here, when it comes to a Sotah, over here you don't need 2 edim. 1 eid would be enough to say that she became tamei to this man. Why? Because here there's lex to this matter. There's reason to believe that she had a relationship with this man. Shaharei kinola. Her husband had warned her, and she's not listening to her husband. Vinistera. And she went and secluded herself with this man. So because I see that she's acting this way, so there's room to believe that she became tamei to this man, so I should believe 1 eid that she became tamei to him. And that's why I still need a special chiddush of the pasuk to say that ein nemun ba, that no, 1 eid is not believed. I have to have dafka 2 eidim. That's what I would think the pshat of the pasuk is. Again, the Gemara here is all coming to clarify why the Braisa went to great lengths to explain that when it says in the pasuk ve'eid ein ba, that it's saying that you don't need 2 eidim, you only need 1 eid. Because if the Braisa would not prove that, I would alternatively say that no, the pshat of the pasuk is that it's coming to say that you must have 2 eidim that let us know that she became tamei. Because otherwise, I would say, maybe logically, there's a svara to say that I could believe 1 eid because we could already see a pattern of her behavior. We could see that this woman is not listening to the warning of her husband, and she's going and secluding herself with this man. So the Braisa has to clarify for me the correct pshat in this pasuk. Could you say that there's really 2 ways how to learn the pshat of this pasuk? The Gemara is saying now, you could either say the 8 Ein is coming to teach me that you must have 2 eid, or the pasuk is coming to teach me that even 1 eid is believed to answer her. But can you even say the Ein Nemun Ba, that this pasuk is coming to teach me that 1 eid is not believed and you must have 2 eid? In other words, this pasuk is coming really to teach me a leniency and visharia, and therefore it's coming to say that even after 1 eid said that she had a relationship with this man, that he's not believed and you must have 2 eid. It can't be that this pasuk is coming to say a leniency. Why not? Because what's the language of the pasuk? It says right afterwards, "V'hi loy nispasa," that this happened to her not by force. So Miklal, that language of the pasuk proves the asura, that this pasuk is coming to say a stringency. It's coming to say the fact that she's asur. So we said over here that there's 2 ways how to learn this pasuk. Either the pasuk is coming to say a stringency, that even 1 eid is believed to say that she had a relationship with this man, or the pasuk is coming to say a leniency, that you don't need 2, but even 1, again, it's coming to say a leniency that you must have dafka 2 eidim to prove that she's asur. Again, or it's coming to say a stringency, that even 1 is believed to say that she's asur. Says the Gemara, there's no 2 options here. If you look in the pasuk, you see clearly that the pasuk is coming to say a leniency, because it says, again, it's coming to say a stringency, because it says loy nispasa. It's coming to say that she's asur. Says the Gemara, not necessarily. There's still room to say that this pasuk is coming to say a leniency. Because I would think to say as follows. Ein nemun ba. The pasuk is coming to say a leniency. And that is that 2 eidim, ein nemun ba, ein nemun ba ad iketrei. That you're not believed to say that she had a relationship with this man until you have 2 eidim. And then the pasuk adds, and even if you have 2 eidim, he, the loy nispasa, shall only be asur if it was not by force. So the pasuk is actually coming to say that there are 2 conditions to asur this woman to her husband. Number 1, it must be 2 eidim, and also it can't be something which was by force. It has to be something which was willingly. So therefore, there is room to say that this pasuk is coming to say a leniency, that you must have 2 eidim, and it must be dafke, not by force. So kamash malon. So that's why the pasuk comes and tells me that no, it must be something. The Braisa, that is the kamash malon here, goes back on the Braisa. The Braisa comes and teaches me that what is really this pasuk coming to say. The pasuk here is coming to teach me that even 1 eid is believed to say that she had a relationship with this man. Why? Because when the pasuk says ve'eid ein ba means 2 eidim. The eid means I don't have 2 eidim, I only have 1 eid, and that 1 eid is believed to say that she had a relationship with this man. Sagt the Gemara weiter, going back now to what it said in the Mishnah. Right, so the Mishnah here brought a machlokes regarding the two Eidim. Do you have to have the two Eidim for the warning, or do you have to have two Eidim for also this that we know that she was secluded with another man? So the Mishnah said, Rabbi Shua mekana la al pishnayim v'chulu. Rabbi Shua says that the husband has to warn her with two Eidim, and the husband also has to have two Eidim that she was secluded with a man privately, for both. So the Gemara, my time with Rabbi Shua, what's the source for what Rabbi Shua says? That you must have Eidim for both of them. Says the Gemara, the source is, O Makra, the Pasuk says, Ba v'loi b'kinui and Ba v'loi b'stira. The Pasuk that we just quoted before, in a situation where you have one aid that says that she actually became Tomei, she had a relationship with this man. So in that Pasuk it says that the aid aim Ba, that over there, one aid is believed. So over here, we learn out ba. It says only regarding an edus that saw that she had a relationship with his man, one is believed. But for the kinoi, for the warning, one aid is not enough. You have to have two. And the same thing also with the sida. Regarding the fact that she was secluded, you have to have two. Rabbi Eliezer that argues, Rabbi Eliezer said in our Mishnah that only for the warning you have to have two. So he says, ba v'loi b'kinoi. Ba comes to say that regarding the warning, you have to have two edim. But not for the fact that she was secluded privately with a man. For that, you don't have to have two Eidim. Frek the Gemara, how does Rabbi Eliezer know to say this? Ve'eme, maybe say, ba v'loi b'stira. Maybe the word ba is coming to say that when it comes to her being secluded with a man, for that you don't need two Eidim. How does he know, or for that you will need two Eidim. How does he know to say that ba is coming to say that for the warning you need two Eidim, and not for the seclusion, maybe for the stira you need to have two Eidim? Says the Gemara, no, because stira is kish l'tumah. When it comes to this, that she was stira, went secluded with this man, for that it's compared to tumah when we know that she had a relationship with this man. The chesiv, the pasuk says, v'nistara v'hi nitma. So it puts them both together. V'nistara v'hi nitma means just like in a case where we have one aid that says that she had a relationship with this man, so the one aid is believed. When it comes also to stira, which is the fact that she was secluded with this man, one aid is believed. But regarding kinoi, which is the warning, I also find in the pasuk that it says it together with tumah, and I should compare them to say that one aid is believed. The pasuk says he warns his wife and she becomes tumah. So why don't I compare them and say that regarding the warning, one aid is believed as well? Says the Gemara, but hamiyat rachmana, we had before the word of ba. The word ba is an exclusion. The word ba is coming to say that only by tumah is one aid believed, but not by the kinoi, not by the warning. So we basically have an exclusion on one hand, but on the other hand we have the psukim that compare the kinoi to the tumah and compares the stira to the tumah. So now we have to figure out how we darshan these psukim here. So it says the Gemara, so umara isa, what did you see that you darshan the psukim this way? In other words, why when it comes to the warning, do we say that the warning has to have dafke tu, not compared to tumah? And why when it comes to the stira, do we say that we do compare it to the tumah, and you don't have to have two, you have to have one? Maybe we should say it in the reverse. Says the Gemara, mistavre, no, it's logical to say that stira adifa, the stira is stronger, and that does not require two. There's more of a reason to believe that the stira happened, and you don't need two for that. Shekain oisrasa ketuma. This is something that makes her aser like the tumah itself, and therefore, just like for the tumah itself, you only need one aid, so too regarding the stira, you only need one aid. But not for the warning. The warning for that, you still will need two aidim. Says the Gemara, Adarabe, on the contrary, kinoi adif, the kinoi, the warning should be stronger. Shekain ikir gadam law. The kinoi, the warning, this is the beginning of the whole thing. This is the beginning that causes the entire isser on this woman. So maybe we should compare dafke the kinoi to the tumah. If you have a question, what to compare to tumah? What's more related to the actual tumah? The beginning, the kinoi, the warning, or the stira, the fact that she was secluded with this man. So the Gemara now argues the beginning, the warning, that's what causes the whole problem. That should be more compared to the actual tumah that happens. Says the Gemara, no, ilav stira kinoi mi'ike. If not for the fact that she later was secluded with this man, the warning in itself doesn't really do anything. So therefore, really the stira itself, that's closer to the actual tumah. The stira is the real problem. The warning in itself is nothing. But the Gemara argues back, but v'ilav kinoi stira mayahani. If not for the fact that there was a warning, so then even if she's secluded with this man, the stira in itself doesn't do anything either without the warning. So again, the question over here is, I have an option to compare the kinoi, the warning, or the stira to the tumah. There's a svara both ways. So why are we comparing dafke the stira to the tumah and not the kinoi? Says the Gemara, afilo hachi stira adifa. The stira is stronger, it's more compared to the tumah, because the aschalte, the tumahi. This is the beginning of the relationship between the man and the woman, that he's privately with her, so this is closer to that union of tumah, so therefore we compare the stira to the tumah, but the kinoi, the warning, which is a stage before, that we don't compare to the tumah, and over there we say that it's excluded. It's different than the tumah, and over there you must have two eidim for that. Says the Gemara Masnisin the Loika Haitana. What it said in our Mishnah is not like the following Tana here. The Tanya in Abraisa we learned Rabbi Yosef, Rabbi Yehuda Imer, Rabbi Yosef, Rabbi Yehuda said, Mishum Rabbi Eliezer. In the name of Rabbi Eliezer, that Amekana le'ishtoi, when a person comes to warn his wife, Mekana al pi edechad. He warns her just with one aid. Oy al pi atzmai, or even on his own, without any aidos. Umashkalo al pishnayim. And only when he comes to give her to drink the water, which means the stira, when she went privately with this man, for that you need two aidim. This is the exact opposite of what it said in our Mishnah. In our Mishnah, it said that the warning has to be with two eidim, and the stira could be with one. Here it says the exact reverse. Now, Hishivu Chachamim l'divrei Rabbi Yosef Rabbi Yehuda, the Chachamim answered and said about this, that according to Rabbi Yosef Rabbi Yehuda, ein l'dover seif. There's no end to this matter. Ein l'dover seif, we'll see this soon, the Gemara will explain what that means. Okay, so now the Gemara will explain the source and the reasoning for this opinion here, which is the opposite of our Mishnah. So my time of Rabbi Yosef Rabbi Yehuda, what's the reason for Rabbi Yosef Rabbi Yehuda's version of Rabbi Eliezer's opinion? So again, the Gemara brings the same psukim as before, but with a different conclusion. Oh Makra, the pasuk says, that only regarding tumah, one aid is believed if they saw that she had a relationship with this man, but that's ba v'loy b'stira. We exclude stira. By stira, you must have two aidim that saw this. Frag the Gemara, how do you know it's coming to exclude stira? Maybe it's coming to say that the warning has to be with two eidim. How do I know that it refers to the stira? Says the Gemara, but kinoi iskish l'tumah. In the pasuk we find that the warning is compared to tumah, that it could be just one aid, like tumah. So on this pasuk it puts them both together. Frag the Gemara, stira nami iskish l'tumah. The stira is also compared to tumah in the pasuk. So maybe I should learn from there that for the stira one aid is enough, like the tumah. Why are you comparing it regarding the kinoi and not comparing it regarding the stira? So here the Gemara answers, this comparison between the stira and the tumah, hahu lekama shir stira. That comparison is just coming to teach me the length of the time of this man and woman that were privately. That it's kedei tumah. The length of the time for them to be able to have a relationship. The length of time of tumah huda also. That's what that pasuk is coming to teach me. So therefore we know that the comparison that says that you must have or that it's enough that there's only one aid is regarding what? It's between kinoi and tumah. That for the kinoi, only one aid is enough. But when it comes to stira, you must have two aidim for that. The opposite of what it said in our Mishnah. So now the Gemara comes back to why Chachamim argued. Hishivu Chachamim. Chachamim answered and said, L'divrei Rabbi Yosef bar Yehuda ein l'davar seif. According to Rabbi Yosef bar Yehuda, that the husband could just bring one aid that she went privately with someone, or again, according to Rabbi Yosef Rabbi Yehuda, it's actually that he could just bring one aid that he warned her. So ein l'davar seif, there's no end to this matter. Why is there no end to this matter? My nir, what does that mean? The zimnin de loikani could be sometimes that the husband did not warn her, and va'amar kanoi, and he's going to say that I warned her. In other words, it's very easy for a husband to turn his wife into a Sotah. He doesn't have to have any eidim to prove this, not even an eidach. He could just say it on his own. So therefore, this is something which there's no end to this. Every husband could go ahead and do this. So the Gemara here said that this is according to Rabbi Yosef Rabbi Yehuda. Says the Gemara, what does that mean? Hal Mishnah Seinu. Yesh l'davar seif. Does that mean that according to the version of our Mishnah, that a husband could just bring one aid, or even himself say that his wife went and was secluded privately with someone? So according to the version of our Mishnah, there is an end to this matter. But Zimnin, even in our Mishnah, also at times what could happen is the loy is stater, where this woman never secluded herself with anyone privately, and v'amar is stater, and the husband himself will come and say that this is what happened. So even in our Mishnah, the point is trusting the husband himself to say this about his wife, whether the husband is saying that I warned my wife, or whether to say that she went privately with someone, there's no end to this. The husband can take advantage of the fact that he himself is believed. So why are we saying that only according to Rabbi Yosef and Rabbi Yehuda, ein l'dav seif? Amar Rav Yitzchak bar Yosef, Amar Rabbi Yechanan. So he says, af l'divrei Rabbi Yosef Rabbi Yehuda, ein l'dav seif. True. In our Mishnah is also ein l'dav seif. That's a problem that we're trusting the husband alone. But what we're saying is, even according to Rabbi Yosef Rabbi Yehuda, there's also going to be a problem. It's a big chiddush that even according to Rabbi Yosef Rabbi Yehuda, there will be a problem that it's in the husband's hands. Fragt the Gemara, why is that a bigger chiddush according to Rabbi Yosef Rabbi Yehuda? Af l'divrei Rabbi Yosef Rabbi Yehuda. Are you saying that it's a bigger chiddush according to Rabbi Yosef Rabbi Yehuda that we're trusting the husband alone? V'loi mibaya l'mishnah seinu. And needless to say that it's a problem in our Mishnah? Adarabah. Logically, the opposite should be true. L'mishnah seinu ikke. In our Mishnah, we're at least requiring the husband to bring two edim that he warned her. So the beginning of the matter does not start just with the husband alone. The beginning of the matter starts with the fact that he must bring two edim that he warned her. But Hassam, leke iker, in the Braise, Rabbi Yosef Rabbi Yehuda said that this whole thing starts off just with the husband alone, and he doesn't have to have any edim that he warned her. So Adarab, if there's a problem of ein l'dav seif that we're trusting the husband alone, there should be more of a problem according to Rabbi Yosef Rabbi Yehuda. So the Gemara says you're right. Rather, what he said was as follows: that Amar Rabbi Yitzchak bar Yosef, Amar Rabbi Yechanan, l'divrei Rabbi Yosef Rabbi Yehuda, and af l'mishnah seinu ein l'dav seif, or some greatest over here, ve'af l'mishnah seinu, that for sure, according to Rabbi Yosef Rabbi Yehuda, ein l'dav seif. And then we're saying that even in our Mishnah, when you're requiring in the beginning two edim for the warning, but still ein l'dav seif, the fact that later for the stira, for that you don't need two edim, you're trusting the husband alone, even for that ein l'dav seif. So let's just conclude one more point here. The Gemara says, Amar Rab Chanina misura. A person should not say to his wife today, do not go privately with this man. In other words, he should not warn her, because because possibly we pass like Rabbi Yosef Rabbi Yehuda, the Omar that for the warning itself, you don't need any edim at all. It can be done just privately with yourself. And then what happens? So now he set this Sotah in motion. He just warned her. And now Mistatra, what happens if she's secluded with someone privately? And today the Mei Sotah is not available to come and inspect this matter, to see what happened over here. And once she becomes a Sotah, now she'll be asa to him forever. So some say that when it says there Mistatra, this means that then there will be two edim for that, or even possibly without edim. Some say even without two edim she'll become asa. So therefore, bisman hazeh, person should be careful not to say this to his wife, because then she may become an actual Sotah.